Hi, in this video I would like to show you a simple native Android application communicating with a .NET backend. What you see here is the application in action. It is connected over a Wi-Fi network and communicating with a WebWarp for .NET server running on my computer. I'm going to also demonstrate the source code which makes this application possible, and the source code is also going to be available for download right in the same blog where you're going to watch this video. Right now I'm going to disconnect and show you how this application works. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is to connect to my instance of WebWarp. Both the device and the WebWarp are sitting on the same network. Therefore I can just specify the WebWarp URL right there. There is also destination name, and in this case it is Stock Exchange Destination. The destination name is needed because the client, being the Android device, is communicating with the server using the PubSub technology. So the client is a subscriber to a destination, and the server-side code is publishing messages into this destination, and WebWarp delivers the messages, being the stock quotes, to the application itself. This particular example uses the .NET on the backend. However, nothing prevents from creating exactly the same example, which would be running on top of WebWarp for Java. So when I click Connect, the application connects and starts receiving updates directly from the server. As you can see, the updates coming in rather frequently, and the push on the server is done once every second. So this is a very basic application. Now let's see how that particular application works from the code perspective. First of all, let's review the client side. So on the client side, I do have this application, the project in IDEA. It can easily be also created in Eclipse. And the very first thing that the application does, it goes and sets up the settings. So the settings really is the screen where we collect the URL for WebWarp and the destination name. Once we click Connect, it's going to go into the main activity, and in the activity there is going to be a method to establish the connection. So right here we're going to obtain the URL and the destination from the settings. There are some default values, but they're going to be ignored if you were to overwrite these values. On the client side, we're using the WebWarp Client API, which is the client-side API for WebWarp, facilitating publish-subscribe connectivity. And also, if you're using remoting, it can also be facilitating remoting APIs. Once we invoke subscribe, we specify a responder, which will be invoked anytime a message is received from the server. When the message is received, it is being dispatched through this handler. And the handler contains the handle message method. Inside of it, we're just going to read the message from the object that we receive and then update the UI. The way the UI is implemented is every single cell in the list is an instance of the stock data adapter class. And instances of this class are responsible for updating themselves with the data that we receive from the server. So let's take a look how the server pushes this data out to the client. Here's my virtual machine with Windows. And right here I have the server-side project, which is called Stock Exchange. And inside of this project, I'm starting a thread, and this thread is going to be kicked off every 900 milliseconds. And when the timer fires, it's going to invoke the update stock data method, which is located right here. Internally, I have a collection of all the companies which are rendered in the UI, and they're stored in this local variable called companies. When the application starts, it initializes all the companies, which happens right here in the init companies method. So all the data is static right here, but this is really irrelevant because we're focusing on delivering data from the server to the client. Going back to update stock data, we update the values for all the companies just to make the application more dynamic. And this is where the important things happen. Since we are using publish subscribe, we need to obtain the destination manager that manages all the destinations. From the destination manager, we get the actual destination that the client is subscribed to, obtain the service handler for this destination, and then publish all the companies with all the updated data into that destination. The other code that you see here is needed for the RTMP clients connected to the same application. And this is something that we will show in another video. However, for this one, these 3 lines is what makes it possible. So with really just a couple of lines of code, we can deliver a collection of objects to the client, so all the data is going to be updated in real time. Also, we can show that both emulator and the device can run side by side. So what I'm going to do is run the client application in the emulator. So here's my emulator. And you can see it's going to be starting up right here. I'm going to connect exactly to the same URL. And as you can see, the emulator and the actual device are running side by side, talking to exactly the same server.